Hey guys, welcome back to Vlogmas! Today we're going to be going through every single book I read in 2023. And there was 23 of them. Perfect for 23. But it's going to be 24 because I'm going to be finishing one of the books tonight actually, because I'm like 90% done with it. So I'm going to finish it today. I am going to be rating them from the lowest amount of stars to the highest amount of stars, and this is all based on Goodreads. You can follow me on Goodreads, it's linked in the description. I set my reading challenge this year for 20 and I got 23. Well, it will be 24, so that's awesome of me. Next year I do want to do the 52 book challenge, one a week. I think I can do it because there's so many books I want to read, and I feel like I can. In the summer I read like 2 books a week, so I definitely can do this challenge. So you can follow me along on Goodreads if you would like for my 52 reading challenge. But I wish I wrote like little reviews for myself for these books, but I didn't, so I had to like literally research like 2 hours all of these books because I completely forgot like the endings and why I liked it so much and why I just didn't like it, but I did it. Okay, all for you. So I hope you enjoyed. Most of my books are thrillers. A lot are from BookTok. That's just a little preface. So we're gonna start off. I didn't rate anything 1 star because I think if a book is 1 star, why did I even read it? Like, I feel like I wouldn't have finished. And I do have a lot of unfinished books, so I can actually, I'll just tell you what the unfinished books are. The Summer House by James Patterson. I really tried to give James Patterson a try, and I know he's a really good writer, but I just couldn't. I don't know, maybe once I like read more like intellectual books, if that's the right word. I feel like James Patterson's more of like an older demographic, but I could be completely wrong. I also could be just dumb. And then The Girl Who Was Taken. The Girl Who Was Taken by Charlie Donlea. Those are the 2 books that I started reading and never finished, so I guess those would be rated 1 star. But for 2 stars, the first one is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I gave this a try because everyone was raving about this book on BookTok. Like, everyone was like, I can't wait for this new Emily Henry to come out. She's so good at writing. All of her books are amazing. And honestly, nothing against the writer. I never read any more of her stuff, so I cannot give her an opinion, or my opinion on her. But I will say this book, I didn't understand the hype. It also could be because I was more of a thriller. I like thrillers more than I like romance, which I do want to get back on romance because I'm going to be getting into those hockey books soon because I know that they're so good and I need some smut in my life. But this one was like, alright, like it wasn't that great. I didn't really want to finish it, but I already bought it. Like, usually I try to only get the Kindle Unlimited books because I don't want to buy books, but I bought it, so I was like, I have to finish it because I freaking bought it. And I was not happy about the ending. You would say that this book wasn't really a happy place for me. The next 2-star book, and the last one I rated 2 stars, was The Last Thing She Ever Did by Greg Olson. I just recently finished this book back in November. I will just say, like, I was really intrigued by the plot of this book, but it dragged way too long. Like, half of the chapters of the book, I was just like, why are we even talking about this? Like, I just felt like it had nothing to do with the plot of the book. Well, it did have something to do with the plot, but it was kind of just like a drag. Like, it was just extra information that I just like didn't really need. And I kind of expected the ending. Like, they kind of set up the ending from the beginning. I didn't know exactly what was gonna happen, but I kind of knew like who and where type thing. So the middle got me for a second. I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere, and then it just kind of declined from there. Now into the 3-star books. I've rated most of my books 3 stars because I feel like that's a good medium, like literally in the middle. The first 3-star book is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I heard a lot of good things about Alice Feeney. I actually have one of her other books on in paperback, so maybe I'll read that one day. It was a forgettable book, but I did read this in the beginning of the year, so that could be why it was forgettable. But after reading a spoiler synopsis, like I did for literally all of the books, the twist at the end was very unpredictable, I will say. And I think that's why I rated it 3 stars, because I was like, what the fuck? Literally had no idea. Like, I love books that the ending is like not someone in the book already, but you're like, oh my god, you know? Like it's not a character in the book until the end, but you're just like, wow, if that makes sense. I'm trying not to spoil too much. The next book is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. I hope I said that right. Again, this was another forgettable book, but I did read it in the beginning of the year, so I feel like that's why it's a little forgettable. But the twist was unexpected, but the ending was very rushed. I do remember that from when I read the spoiler synopsis. I don't really have much more to say about that because I don't really remember much about this book, but I do know that the twist was unexpected at the end and the ending was rushed. So the next one is Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. This was a crazy book. I don't know why I rated it 3 stars only, but I do remember it was nuts. Books tend to mesh in my mind because I read them like literally right when I finish a book, I start a new one that night, or I start a new one like literally the next day. So they kind of mesh in my head, which is could be explained why the first 2 books that I just mentioned before were forgettable, because they probably just meshed in my head. But this one I do remember. After reading the synopsis, I was like, holy shit, I remember this book. But there's no plot twist, so yeah, I do like a good plot twist. But I do remember this book was crazy. Next book is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. I think I like this book. Is that bad? Like, I feel like I do remember talking to Zach about this and be like, oh my god, this book is so good. But the plot twist, I saw in the synopsis that there was a plot twist at the end. I guess it wasn't memorable to me because, like, didn't really understand why I rated this 3 stars. Some of these are going to be like that. Actually, I think only a few. The next one is If You Tell, a true story of murder, family secrets, and the unbreakable bond of sisterhood. This was the most disturbing book I've ever read. And I haven't read a lot of disturbing books, so I'm sure there's more disturbing, but even everyone in the comments of Goodreads and all of the reviews were saying this was like really disturbing. Like, how can someone write this much of like a disturbing, like the most graphic child abuse, just like craziness. It was a good book, but like while I was reading it, I was just kind of feeling like, ooh, I don't want to be reading this. Like, I feel like I shouldn't be reading this type of thing. But it was a good book, so I will say that. Okay, the next one is The Housemaid, and let me explain to you why I only rated it 3 stars when obviously everyone was saying how good this was. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. So I accidentally read The Housemaid's Secret before I read The Housemaid. I don't know how that even happened. I really thought the first one was called The Housemaid's Secret. I don't know. But I rated it a 3 because I ruined it by reading the second one before. So I knew it's a good book. It is written the exact same, well, kind of the exact same way as The Housemaid's Secret. Like, the plot is like basically the same. But I feel like I would have rated a 4 star if I read it first, but I read it second, so I ruined it for myself. I was so mad because I like waited so long to read this book, and then I finally was like, fuck it, I'm gonna read it, and then I forgot. I don't know. I don't know why I did that. Next one is If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I do remember the ending made me pissed off and upset. That's all I have for that one. I was just like, why did I read this? You know, like when you're just like so angry and sad at an ending, you're just like, why did I put myself through this? That's what that book did to me. Next one is Ward D by Frida McFadden. I read this after I read The Housemaid. Well, The Housemaid 2 and then The Housemaid. It dragged way too long. I just felt like she was up in that ward like literally the entire time. I mean, she was, but like I just felt like it was just dragging. I was like, get to the fucking point. And the ending was predictable. I kind of knew what the ending was going to be like. Well, not really like what it was going to happen, but like who, basically. I knew who it was at the end, if that doesn't give much away. The next one might get people pissed, just saying, is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't know what I expected from this book. I felt like there was no genre, if that makes sense. Like, I could be completely wrong on this, but I just felt like there was like no real plot either. Like, what were we getting to? Like, what was the end result or the end goal of this book? Like, I didn't feel like there was any of that, and it didn't leave me wanting more. Like, it made me want to keep to not read. I don't know why I rated this a 3 instead of a 2. I think because I might have like gasped like once. But not that great, and everyone was raving about it, and I just don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just missing things when it comes to book talk, but some book talk books I'm like, these aren't all that great. Like, what's happening? So, I don't know. The next one is The Locked Door, again by Frida McFadden. I was trying to go through all of her books. Not much to say on that one. I do remember this book, but I don't really have much to say about it. I feel like, yeah, that's just it. It wasn't memorable enough for me. And then the last book that I rated 3 stars is Twisted Love. This is actually the last book I read before this one that I'm reading right now. The reason I started this book was because I was, again, reading so many thrillers one after another that I wanted to get some like smutty romance in my life. So I read this book because I heard good things about this, and it wasn't enough romance and smut for me. So I quickly went back to thriller right after that. So that's it basically. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the line that I highlighted was, "You're about to find out what happens when you invite yourself into the lion's den." Shut up, that's so bad. I did like his like mean, you know, bad boy vibe about him, which is why I read it, because I was like, I love a bad boy to lover story, and then it just wasn't there. So, well, it was, but like not enough, if that makes sense. Well, I know the girlies know it makes sense. Okay, now onto 4 stars. We have a few. The first one is The Housemaid's Secret, because if I read that second, that'd probably be 3 stars, but the plot twist was like, oh my god, like literally jaw dropped to the ground, but it did ruin the first one for me, so that's why I didn't get 5 stars, because I was pissed. The next one is All the Lies by Nicola Sanders. So the reason I read this book is because one of my 5-star books she also wrote, so we'll get to that in a second. So that's why I read this one, but I wasn't as excited about it as I thought I was going to be, because I really liked her writing. I really liked the first book that I read from her, so I really had high hopes about this one, and it just didn't do the full thing for me. But I did enjoy the book, and that's that. I don't really remember much about it, but we'll get to why I liked her writing when we get to the 5-star books. So then the next 3 books are a series, and I read this first book, It Began With a Lie, by Michelle Parisa Wasick. I don't know if I said that right, but I didn't know it was part of a series. So I read the first one and realized it said Secrets of Redemption #1. I was like, oh my god, there's more than 1 book. And it's one of those books where like, it kind of reminded me of like how Pretty Little Liars is, where it keeps giving you information, but like unlike Pretty Little Liars, this book actually gave you the answers, where PLL didn't give us fucking any answers to like the last season basically. They set it up perfectly for the next book. Like it began with a lie, and then something happening with Jessica and whatever, and then you figure something out and you're like, well, what happened to Jessica? Tell me what happened to Jessica. And then it goes to this happened to Jessica, which is number 2, and then it goes to the evil that was done, and there's still more books, so I'm gonna probably end up going back to the series this year and like finish reading the series. But really freaking good book, a really good series to read, and yeah, it just left me wanting more, and I love books like that. The last book that I rated 4 stars is The Coworker by Frida McFadden, once again. Crazy plot twist at the end, literally jaw dropped to the ground. I was like, what the fuck, I didn't even see this coming at all, and that's just why I was rated 4 stars. So now onto 5-star books. Now to rate something 5 stars, it literally has to have me like on the floor, like what the fuck, and like literally speaking that out. Also has to be me like literally like hitting Zach and be like, what the fuck, while I'm reading in bed, like, oh my god, I have to tell you about this book. That's what rates 5 stars, if that makes sense. Let's go. The first one is why I started reading the next Nicola Sanders book, Don't Let Her Say by Nicola Sanders. Oh my god, that was one of the best and craziest books I've ever read. Like, it was just like, what? It was like, it just kept saying what, and I literally like stayed up so late reading that book. I was like, I have to. I was like 60%, 70% in. I was like, I can't go to sleep yet. I have to finish this book. so many twists and turns until literally like the last page of the book. Like, it was just like you thought you were done and then it just threw another one at you, and I was like, what is happening? So that's why I read All the Lies by her. It wasn't as great as Don't Let Her Stay, but I was like, I need more from this author. Like, I need more. So I hope that convinced you to read that book, because that was just like, oh my god. The next one is On a Quiet Street by Serafina Nova Glass. Oh, I like that name. Did I write a comment on this one? No. I literally had to like write a review on Don't Let Her Stay, because I was just like, whoa. I love like a layered character storyline where it involves like multiple people, like where they're giving me information about all of these people that are just so layered, you know, like there's so much going on with these people in their lives, and then they like put them all together to like make one storyline where like this person's troubled and this person needs to leave and this person. I love those types of books, so I think that's why I really like this book, because it was like giving me so much, and like the ending was just like, whoa, didn't see that coming. And then the last book that I rated 5 stars, which might come to a surprise to you, but it was a romance book. Whoa. Whoa. Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther? Walter? I don't know. There's an L. Or there's an H. It just had me smiling the entire time. You know, like those romance books where it's like, stop. Like, that's what this book is doing for me. I just remember like walking on the treadmill and being like, because I read on the treadmill when I go to the gym, I'm like, oh my god. Like, trying not to like make it seem like I'm like giddy and whatever, but yeah, great romance book. 5 stars for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Follow me on Goodreads to see all of my books that I'm going to be reading in the new year. Also, I'm going to be really upping my TBR want to read list for 2024 in like the next few days. So comment below your favorite books of 2023 so that I can like put them on my TBR, because I want to get back into romance. I need like the smuttiest of all smuts that makes me like I can't read it in the treadmill, on the treadmill, you know? But like I need to read it on the treadmill, but like one of those books where it's like, I hope no one's looking at me while I'm reading this. Like those types of books. So please comment below if you have any of those. And just comment below anyway. Let's have a little community of readers in the comments. Make it booktube. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys again tomorrow for Vlogmas. And remember, we're not ending on the 25th. We are going until the 31st. So don't you worry. Your girl's here to stay for the rest of the month. Alright, that's all from me. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the post notifs, and follow me on TikTok if you would like. But subscribe here first, because I love this. I love this channel. Okay, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow on Vlogmas Day 22. So close to Christmas, and it's like 50 degrees outside. Like, what? Okay, bye. Ho ho ho, bitches.